Hey everyone, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is the weekend, November 5th, and this is the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week, and it was a pretty eventful week with the Fed meeting. And then we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming down the pipe this week. So let's get down to it. And we'll start out by looking at what happened last week. Of course, markets really rallied when the Fed announced that much anticipated 0.75 rate hike. That was pretty much right in the books, what was expected, of course, and that was the rally that ensued because there were no surprises. But then Powell stepped up to the mic and started speaking and made it clear there was no pivot coming, and the markets really sold off hard. And during our meeting in Florida, some of us shorted the market on that and worked out as a really good trade. So that was a good opportunity to make some money on that reversal. Friday's job report came out. It was a bit of a mixed bag. Jobs growth was strong, but unemployment was up. So probably more people coming into the workforce. But sort of a mixed bag as far as the Fed goes and their inflation fighting mandate or objective. And so the result was we had a real up and down session, but the indexes did manage to rally at the end of the day, and they were all green. But on the week, of course, the Dow broke its fifth 4-week winning streak, and all the indexes were down. You can see the Qs were down the most by far. And what was strong, basic materials and energy, was up on the week. And that was primarily because I believe the US dollar dropped again, well off its highs. And we'll look at that chart in a minute. But basic materials, energy up again on the week. Communication services and tech, again, you can see with the Qs being down so much, they were in the red. 2-year Treasury inched up again. It was up 4.67. 10-year was up higher slightly at 4.18. Still an inverted yield curve. Again, as I mentioned, the US dollar dropped. And Bitcoin seems to be making a bit of a move here. It's above 21,000 as I'm making this video. Seems to be breaking out of a bit of a trading range. So have to keep an eye on that one for next week, especially if you want to trade that in some way, whether it's through the stocks that are leveraged to Bitcoin or Bitcoin directly if you're a Bitcoin trader or other cryptocurrency. Okay, so before we start looking at some charts, as you know, I like to throw up a quick ad for my book on Amazon. And here it is, Profiting as an Active Trader. If you haven't checked it out yet, it is available, and it includes some of the rules, strategies, and routines that I use as an active trader to make profitable trades. So let's get down and take a look at some charts here. So as always, I always like to start out with this Treasuries, the 2-year and the 10-year. You can see here we're still in an uptrend, moving averages still moving higher. Even the 200-day is starting to creep up here. So you can see here the 2-year still going higher, still trending higher, still probably a little bit of a headwind for stocks here, although momentum does seem to be tapering off a little bit. We are, as far as the RSI goes, still pretty overbought, but we can stay that way for a long time, as you can see in prior readings here. So not necessarily a indicator that we're about to roll over here. We do have to be getting pretty close to an area where inflation, or at least the interest rates, are going to sort of top out here, but there's still, again, no real clear topping action yet here. And you see on the 10-year, again, we were down last week, but now we're back inside a week here on the 10-year, and still in a uptrend. The transports had a bad day Wednesday, but a pretty decent back-to-back day Thursday and Friday. We're back up to this gap fill here, and this is going to be a bit of a test here to see if we can actually break out through this level on the transports. And of course, transports are always interesting because as the transports go, generally so does the economy. Goods getting moved shows robust economic activity. And you can see here, constructive week. It was a little bit down on the week, but you can see here we really are well off the lows of the week, and it's really just trying to hold into this level right now on the transports. The Dow, again, big sell-off on Wednesday after that Fed announcement, and then we kind of came back here, and now we're still below the 200-day. But we've had a monster run on the Dow, and the question is, are we getting another ABCD pattern like we got here, ABCD? Are we going to continue higher, or is the 200-day moving average, this sort of 33,000 level, which was important sort of back here, is this going to act as resistance until we get some maybe some catalyst that really might drive us higher, such as the Fed turning a little bit more dovish. So you can see on the week here, well off the lows of the week. Still in the red, but well off the low of the week. So not all red weeks are created equal. The Qs, again, big sell-off day Wednesday. Found a bit of a bottom here. You can see here this level from back in middle of October, kind of held here, and we came right back up on Friday. Again, sort of a positive day on Friday. On the week, again, retesting this low here. So I'd be watching this to see if it is a double bottom, or if we do break this level. I think that's fairly critical on the SPY, or on the Qs, I should say. Again, same comment about the daily. SPY, well off the low of the day on Friday. On the week, bit of an inside week here. This moving average, this 20 moving average on the weekly, sort of a resistance point right now. But right now we've put in this low, and sort of similar to, sort of a similar point, almost like a double bottom. So the question is this 360 level going to hold, or are we going to be able to break above this 390 level next week? IWM, same comments basically on the daily. Not a lot of volume on Friday. We are still, momentum is kind of hooking up there on the RSI. On a week, again, bit of an inside week there after last week. We're still above the 200-day moving average and this 20 moving average. So I mean, this is looking fairly constructive. I had a big week last week, and now we just get a bit of a pullback. So let's see. It's fairly constructive, and this is even more constructive. We can see here, this is the volatility index. This is, this goes up when investors and traders feel like they need protection. So it's a bit of a insurance policy, but some people also refer it as the fear index. So when it goes up, people are fearful of market sell-off, and this is telling you there is not a lot of fear in the market right now, and it just keeps dropping. Friday dropped some more here, right back into an area of prior support here, kind of an area where we chopped around here, broke down, came back up. So we are into an area where there was a lot of prior support and resistance. So this will be an interesting area to watch, but definitely the VIX is telling us that possibly the market could go higher. So, and I already mentioned the dollar, weakness in the dollar. It really peaked out back here end of September, and since then we've been making sort of a series of lower highs, and I think we've still got more downside. So what does that mean? It actually is positive for a number of things like emerging markets and some metals plays. So we'll get into that watched stock stuff in a minute. And Bitcoin, as I already mentioned earlier, Bitcoin, this level here around just under 21,000 seemed to be an area where we were struggling to get through, but we broke out here on the last 24 hours, and we're continuing to hold that breakout. So this is kind of interesting looking chart. Where are we going from here? Well, we do have an area of minor resistance here. Big resistance up here around, or call it 22,500 area. But it looks like we could break out here on Bitcoin, and so that would mean you could play Bitcoin with the currency itself, cryptocurrencies itself, or you could take a trade like coin, which is basically a Bitcoin trade. As far as watch stocks for next week, let's take a quick look. Apple I've been watching just because it's kind of at an interesting level. You can see here we're well off the lows of the day, 135. It finally broke down a little bit because it's been really hasn't sold off like the rest of the market in terms of magnitude, but we are starting to see that right now, or we saw that last week where it really broke down. We did test this 135 level, which was from back here, middle of October, and it seemed to hold. So 135 again is an area I'd watch on Apple. If it violates that, drops below it, 130 next, and then you could be into the 125 area for support. So Apple, interesting to watch. Disney is reporting earnings next week. I kind of find this one interesting. You know, it's got a fairly decent PE ratio. It's starting to come back up. The stock price. You know, we did have a nice run here, a bit of a pullback. We seem to be chopping around here, and earnings should be quite interesting. Stochastic's not looking great, but this is something I'm going to look at maybe trading after earnings. So we'll see what the expected move is, and then we'll get the move after the earnings report, and then I'll look to either take sell some puts or sell some calls, depending on which direction the Disney goes. If it drops, I'll find a low level that I don't think it'll go through, and I'll sell puts. If it pops up, I'll find a level where I think it'll have resistance, and I'll sell calls. So that's my options strategy that I use on earnings. FCX, kind of noted this on Friday, weak dollar on Friday. We really had a breakout. I think there's some concerns about copper and inventory. Inventory is pretty low on copper, and you can see here breakout, FCX, copper gold play, and it's had a nice move. I'll be watching it for a move through the 200-day moving average. Gold is kind of interesting. It's really just trading range bound right here. So I'm looking at maybe trading it within this range, or if it does happen to break out through this, I'm going to call it 25. I'll be watching it on Monday, see if we get a continuation move higher. Seems to be a lot of interest in gold. And you had some big volume on Friday, this move back. This is the move on Wednesday that I caught on a short. I shorted the gold miners. Actually used a Canadian ETF because I was trading in Canadian funds, but I basically did the same thing, had a really nice drop, got a very nice move on that. LABU, I'm still watching. I'm watching this $8 level for a breakout. I kind of feel like IWM is going to go back up and test this 40 level again, right up back here, or maybe not quite that high. I'd look at be happy with 38, but I think it looks like it wants to move higher. We had a decent volume on Friday, and yeah, so RSI is starting to turn up here, momentum. So I'll be looking for a bit of a move on that. Also watching TQQ. These are the Qs. It does look like we put in a bit of a bottom here, so if we can hold sort of this 17 level, maybe we'll start to move back up into the 22 area. Tesla I'm watching. Again, Tesla's right back testing low of this prior low from these two levels here. So again, Tesla in a sort of an interesting area, and you can look back here, further back in history, and you can see how this sort of 200 level is an area where it comes down to and really bounces off of. So if Tesla loses the 200, that's going to be quite interesting. URA is still uranium, still watching that. XLE still looking a little toppy here, but you know, the weak dollar could push this higher. And XLV still waiting for a bit of a breakout here through sort of a 134 level, got an alert set. And that's it, everybody. All right, so let's wrap things up here. Here are your levels to watch on the indexes next week. Got them laid out there with the support and resistance levels. As far as economic events go, we do have the CPI data that is coming out on Thursday at 8:30. This, of course, will be highly watched and anticipated as we get our latest read on inflation. So that'll be a big event on Thursday. We do have earnings. We still are in the throes of earnings season, although we are getting into the kind of the back end of it. So we do have some interesting stuff coming up next week. We've got Disney, we've got Roblox, Neo, always interesting to watch, Win. So more earnings coming next week should give us some good trading opportunities. And November 11th, I should mention this, it is Veterans Day in the US. It is Remembrance Day in Canada. It's the equivalent to Veterans Day. And just wanted hats off to our veterans and thank you very much for your service and sacrifice. Just an acknowledgement there. So that's it. 8 o'clock Monday morning, we will be starting live on YouTube with Engineering the Markets, and then taking us into our pre-market show at 8:30, and then of course our members will be trading the market open at 9:30. So have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. Hope to see you Monday morning, and take care. Bye for now.